Hello friends, welcome back. So let's begin the chapter money from where we left in our previous video, and here we go. So as we talked about money, its origin, its definitions given by some economists, then the barter system, and we talked about the problems of barter system. Actually, these problems led to the evolution of money through different stages, and that's why we say money has overcome all the problems of the barter system. Then we discussed about the stages, how money has evolved from goods format to e-money today. And then we talked about a beautiful rhyme that money is a matter of function for a medium, a measure, a standard, a store. So these four things actually give you the format of three different questions, the different formats of the questions asked in the boards, but the answer and the content would be the same. And the question would be, give the problems of barter, or what is the importance of money, and how the money has overcome the problems of barter system. Right. This gives me the scope of telling you another beautiful question. How has money led to the growth in the economy? So, how growth has happened in the economy through money? So, we will try to explain this, that because of this money, now the buyer sells his goods anytime the seller buys I'm so sorry, the buyer buys the goods anytime, the seller sells the goods anytime. There is no double coincidence of wants required. So because of this money, now the markets have enhanced. So markets have expanded. Why markets have expanded? Because now the sale and purchase are these two distinct, different, non-simultaneous, non-concurrent items. A seller can produce to his maximum and he can keep on selling by getting money in return. He would satisfy his wants later with this money at some other point of time. So he is not bogged up and he doesn't stop making the goods because he would have to purchase right at that moment. Right. So because of that, the markets now have expanded, and markets have expanded means there is a huge demand now, and because of that demand, because the sellers want to satisfy that demand, so output now has gone up. What is output? Is the production. Right. Production means it has enhanced the GDP of the nation. And in our previous lectures, we have talked about that GDP is nothing but one of the 8 income aggregates, the formats of national income. So if gross domestic product rises, it also gives rise to the national product as well. It's just a mere conversion by using NFI as one of the products. But if GDP is high, of course, national income would also go higher. So if this is a question that how growth has happened with the evolution of money, you can justify with this algorithm and flowchart, you'll say. Now we would have the next topic for today, and that is the forms of money. Money, this chapter had been very comprehensive in past days, right? But with every year there is cutting and cutting in the syllabus. So probably forms of money also is not asked. So I'm just cutting this short with 2 3 main formats which are required, as there are many forms which should be discussed. So first is the fiat versus fiduciary money. Now, what do you mean by this? Fiat and fiduciary money. You must know fiat means which is based on the order of the authority, right? And fiduciary has no involvement of authority involved. It is only based on faith. So let me explain the same with the help of certain examples. And fiat money is nothing but the legal tender money. How? The money in circulation today, the central government issues the currency notes, right? Yeah, RBI issues the notes. So this every note, you pick up any currency note right at this moment if you have nearby, whether of any denomination, maybe 1 rupee, maybe 500, maybe the highest denomination, whichever is there in circulation at this moment, right? You would say you would have a you know small promise written on that note. I promise to pay the bearer a sum of rupee 5, 10, 50, whatever is the denomination. In Hindi we say मैं धारक को इतने रुपए अदा करने का वचन देता हूँ. So this is a promise, and that promise is substantiated by the governor of the country at that very point of time when the note was released. So what is that? It is that currency is based on order. This is the order of the government to accept this for exchange of goods and services. And that's what is legal tender, that there is a legal tender. You would also be talking about the term demonetization, right, in your macro as well as your Indian eco. So demonetization is what? The phenomenon where the legal tender is withdrawn from any currency. So that is called demonetization. So if a money is floated and pushed into the circulation by the government, it has the legal tender in it, and that is a fiat money, means by the order of the authority. But when we talk about the fiduciary money, it's plain clearly based on faith. If you rely on me, then only you would be accepting the check released by me, the check which I sign for you, because there may be a vulnerability of bouncing back of check, right? So to avoid that, sometimes people do go for DD, not for checks. Why? Because this check is based on faith. There may be or may not be a situation of bouncing back, but DD is demand draft is not bounced back. The currencies are not bounced back. So when we say what are the forms of money, what are different formats available? One is fiat, the other is fiduciary. And then the next format we will be talking about is the full bodied versus commodity value. Full bodied money versus credit money. Now, what is this? If we go back in the era of Britishers, there had been a circulation of one coin, silver coin, which was of 1 rupee, and actually it had the metal or the silver content in that worth 1 rupee. Means even if you are not selling it or exchanging it for the worth of one because it's a coin, you can melt it and sell it in form of silver and get 1 rupee. Means full bodied size where the commodity value and the money value are the same. Money value is equal to the commodity value of the currency. So in that example of 1 rupee silver coin of Britishers era, right, of that past era, if you circulate that coin for the worth of it as 1 rupee, that was the same as the melting of the coin and getting the money worth in it. So the commodity value means when you melt it and you have it, and the money value is the value printed or minted or showcased on that very currency, right? But it is not so today. If you talk about one 500 rupee note, right? If you just crush it, tear it into pieces, and it's burnt and all, would you have any worth left? No, it would not have any worth left, right? So, or you say, if you just take a 10 rupee coin and just melt it for the bronze or the metal you have in it, so it would not give you the worth of 10 rupees if you are getting the metal sold in the market. So it means when the money value is lesser, oh no, I'm saying the opposite, when the money value is greater than the commodity value. So this becomes the credit money. This is the case of credit money. That it doesn't have any worth in its commodity. If that money is torn and it's no more there in circulation, it cannot be exchanged for that worth. It means its value written and printed on its face is far, far, far more than the commodity it's made up of, the inherent value. Right. So this is about full bodied money and credit money. So after this, we have now come to the last of the chapter called the supply of money. Supply of money. So what would we have in this content? Supply. Supply is a stock concept here, right? The stock of money held by the people of the country, right? At any point of time. So this is how you explain it for 1 mark, and you have all the 3 keywords explained. What is the supply of money? The stock of money held by the countrymen at any point of time is called the stock of money. But you must note that the stock of money never has the money with the of creators of money. Let me repeat. The creators of money are excluded from this definition of stock of money. And who are the creators of money? Number one, the creator is the RBI, the main banking system of the country. I'm talking about India, right? Because it issues the currency notes, right? Then we have the commercial banks, because commercial banks are able to, they have inherent capacity to create money in the economy. And this would be the credit creation is a wonderful topic which would be explained later, and it is very, very, very important from people's perspective. They are able to multiply the money with the deposits they get to have. So that whole phenomena would be explained, and that's called the credit creation. And also the finance ministry of India. Why am I including a particular ministry? Because it's the finance ministry of India who has got the rights to deal with all the coins and 1 rupee note. So the making, though distribution is there with RBI, but the making of all coins and 1 rupee note is allowed, and only the finance ministry is authorized to deal in it. That's why we say these are the 3 creators of the money: the RBI, the commercial banks, and the finance ministry of India. So whenever we are talking about the supply of money, we would never have any of these and their own money being included in that supply of money. Right. Let's move ahead. Then what and how do we define money? So money has got many expressions: M1, M2, M3 and M4. But M1 is there in your syllabus, right? And most often for 1 mark, just M1 and its definition is asked. Rest 3 are not to be taken up. M1 is the most liquid expression. Most liquid expression. And M4 is the least liquid expression. It has got least liquidity in it. Now, what is M1 equal to? M1 is equal to C plus DT plus OD. M1 is equal to C plus DT plus OD. M1 is equal to C plus D plus OD. Now let us define what are the components of C, DD and OD. C is the currency notes and coins held by the public. Currency, notes and coins with public. I am again and again saying you need to mention it's with public. D is the demand deposits. From paper's perspective, if you just mention this much, C plus DD plus OD and give the full forms of these, like OD is the other deposits. So that would suffice for 1 marker. Only this much, which is right now displayed at this screen. But if it is for 3 marks, though often for very long period of time, I haven't noticed M1 being asked for 3 marks, but let's explain the same. So when we say C plus DD plus OD, C means the currency notes and coins with you, with me, means the public of the nation, right? DD is the demand deposits. You must note that deposits in your next chapter, you would be talking about the banking. Then you would come to know that deposits are of two types, the demand deposits and the term deposits. What do you mean by demand deposits? Say the salary account. Salary account comes under demand deposit. How and why? Because, in the midnight also, ask me, right? I do get up in the midnight at times when it's a lazy day ahead, shop a bit on Amazon and just go for sleep. What do I mean by that? That demand deposit means there is no time frame when you can demand your money back from the bank. It can be midnight, it can be holidays, it can be working days, it can be early hours, it can be a gusted off. Right. So demand deposits means the bank is obliged to give your money back at any point of time. But when we say term deposits, so term deposit has got a time commitment. And when we say time commitment, it means you cannot be asking from the bank the money which you have given with a time framework. If you do so, though you are allowed, but if you do so, you would have a loss of interest there. So time deposits can be exemplified with the help of like fixed deposits, the recurring deposits, and some other sort of deposits where you are bound by the time that for this particular period I cannot withdraw money because this much amount of interest has been committed to me, else that the interest factor would go down. So when we say demand deposits, here DD always is talking about this section, demand deposits. Time deposits are not included, right? And the other deposits. And one more thing, whenever we are talking about demand deposits, it should always have net demand deposits. Net means, as I previously cleared also, something minus something. So net means we, after getting offset the interbanking claims, right? A has to give some money to bank B, but at the same time has to get some money from B. So both the transactions would not be shown. The net effect would be shown. That's called the net demand deposits. And when we talk about the other deposits, now what do we have in other deposits? Other deposits means the demand deposits, number one, of the public financial institutions like we have NABARD, National Bank for Agriculture and Rural Development. You would be talking about this in rural development chapter also. You have Exim Bank, you have SIDB, Small Industries Bank, right? So these, and if these financial institutions have deposited some money, demand deposits with banks, so that would be considered. Second, the demand deposits of foreign banks and foreign governments. Foreign banks and foreign governments, right? And the third is the demand deposits of international bodies, demand deposits of international organizations, like you have WHO and many more, right? WTO, WHO, UN, and all. So these would be the examples of, there are many examples of international organizations. So when we talk about the money supply, let's just go back. Money supply means you have to talk about M1, which is the most liquid expression. This is equal to C plus TD plus OD. C is the currency and coins with public. D is net demand deposits, as I explained, and other deposits include these three formats of the demand deposits, which are not having any inclusion of what? The government and the commercial banks. As I told you that whenever we talk about, in the previous section I did talk about that the suppliers of money are never added in the stock of money. That's why we haven't included any demand deposits of the RBI or the banks or the finance ministry of India. With this, we are almost done, and there is one high powered money. The concept of high powered money is also there, the very last topic. High powered, as it is showcasing that this is creating the monetary base of monetary expansion, right? So monetary base of the country's currency. So it includes the cash component, which is the common first component, right? This C component which I'm talking about is also there in it. So it is C plus the reserves of commercial banks, reserves of commercial banks with themselves as well as with RBI, with themselves, right? When I say with themselves, commercial banks do have some sort of reserves other than the mandatory reserves talked about by the RBI, like cash reserve ratio, statutory liquidity ratio. There are some other reserves also which the bank creates with itself, like the vault cash, right? So these and the RBI's reserves are the base for the monetary base of the country. So these are called the high powered money. So high powered money has C, the cash or the currency component, and the reserves of commercial banks. With this, we have come to the closure of this chapter. I hope all the doubts are clear. If you have, you please get back to me. God bless. Have a good day. Bye bye. See ya.